Hey all KFC kids, man, I sure miss you guys. I hope you're taking this time to get out and enjoy this beautiful weather. I hope you're taking the time to be able to just enjoy God's creation. It's just been it's been really nice outside the last couple of weeks, and I hope you guys are doing well. So I miss you guys, and wanted to go ahead and try to continue some KFC stuff right now. I haven't done this one in a long time. So our fourth grade, one of our memory works is going to be acts of worship. And so I thought, what a wonderful time. We're at home. We're not get to come together under one roof like normal to get to worship the way we're used to. That being said, it does not mean that we do not get the opportunity where we're at under whatever roof, that we get the chance to worship and to show those acts of worship, and not just for us to get that connection, but also at this time it's great because for those people who do see us, whether it's occasionally friends, family who we may see in the near future, if we're not under that roof, they may not know, and this gives them a kind of a glimpse as to what we're doing, kind of shows what we're about. And really it's just a response as to what we've done because we've been shown love beyond measure from our Heavenly Father. So we're going to do today's Devo, and it's going to be over acts of worship. So we'll cover those and a couple verses that go with each one. Okay, so first we're going to look at in acts of worship. One of those is singing, and we're going to look at that verse in Ephesians 5:19. Addressing one another in psalms and in hymns, in spiritual songs, singing and making a melody to the Lord with your heart. Well, that sounds fun, doesn't it? Taking the time this week just to tune in and sing and make a joyful noise. I would say we have a lot of memory work that's got some great songs that I love hearing you guys sing. The parents want to jump in and tune in with those. We have the Sons of Jacob, the Apostles, Days of Creation. All those are wonderful, along with just some of the regular songs we sing throughout the year. I know VBS is another. We have a great selection of songs, but any of these songs, just making a joyful noise, praising God and worshiping. One of the second ones we'll look at is preaching. We're going to look at that one in the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 15. And he said to them, "Go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation." So when we're talking about preaching, you'll see that a lot. You maybe hear a lot about the gospel, the good news. And I like to think a lot of the time that we bring up that in reference to ourselves. There's a lot to talk about that God has done for us. And the good news is that Jesus, Son of God, came to earth and humbled himself with his creation as a man and lived a perfect life. Did amazing and wonderful things, performing miracles. And then he willingly went to the cross and died. But that's not the good news. The good news is that that's not where the story ended. He was taken from that cross and buried in the tomb, and 3 days later, he rose and now sits at the right hand of God and is the person who allows us to have that relationship, not just with God, but with Jesus. And it's such a wonderful story. That we have an opportunity to someday be with our Maker, the person who created everything, the heavens and the earth, just because of his sacrifice, his gift. And you have to be willing to accept that. So when people talk about that good news, going through all the world preaching the good news, what a wonderful story that that was given to us and that we have to share. So I hope you take the time to have your parents tell you about their good news. Have them share with them their gospel that they know. So we'll look at that, and hopefully you guys have some great stories to tell me about when I see you guys again. Another act of worship is praying, and a great verse for that one is going to be found in Philippians 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God. Man, with all of this time you guys have, find some time, a little homework for you guys, find some time to sit with your parents and listen to their prayers. Find a moment to sit there and listen to how they talk to God and how they share with God their thankfulness, their joy, and then have your parents sit with you while you practice talking to God, praying, letting them know what's on your heart, what's on your mind, and just giving all of your thoughts to God and putting them out there to Him, because we know He hears them. Another act of worship that we talk about is giving. 1 Corinthians 16:2, there's a verse that we look at. And on the first day of every week, each of you is to put something aside and store it up as he may prosper, so that there will be no collecting when I come. This one is going to be a little different for our group, but I think it's so important that you may see when we get to come together, it's a little easier to see that there is an opportunity that we take to give back to the kingdom. We're putting forth, sometimes it's our money, to be able to help God's kingdom grow. We're giving that money to the church in a sense, so its elders can decide how best to use those funds that will help benefit our community, our church body, as well as other parts of the church body all over the world. And it's so important that we know why we're giving, and we're doing it with a joyful heart, and we're doing it not just because we're asked to, but because we want to. We've been given so much, and we want to give back. We're moved to give back, and I hope that you guys get to experience what I'm talking about, and you see what I'm talking about as we continue to come together. Some of us, if it's not money, it's time. Not everyone gives money. That we spend our time, which some of us don't have a lot of, but just as precious, if not more, that we give our time to one another, and that is a wonderful thing as well. And one of the last things we look at when we look at acts of worship is found in 1 Corinthians 11:26, and that's taking in the Lord's Supper. Let's look at 1 Corinthians on that. For as often as you eat this bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until He comes. So, for those of you kiddos who may remember, on Sundays, we take the opportunity to share and commune together by taking of the bread and drinking of the cup, and that is a proclamation that leads right into the good news, that how grateful we are, and we're remembering the sacrifice that was made, the love that was given on our behalf, and we don't deserve it. That's what's so amazing. We don't deserve it, but yet it was given. And so when we take that cup and we drink that bread, we're proclaiming Christ's death and remembering and waiting for His return. So as you see here on our acts of worship, we're looking at your memory work, which is for your fourth grade group. Some of you are not quite into the fourth grade group yet, but you will be. We're looking forward to it, Lord willing. And when we get there, acts of worship will be singing, preaching, praying, and the Lord's Supper along with giving. So I hope you guys can put these words that we discussed to your hearts. Let them sink into your ears. But I really do miss you guys. Looking forward for the next time we get to come together. We get to have a nice meal with one another. And more importantly, we just get to share our lives with one another. And I'm looking so forward to that. So I miss every one of you. It would not be KFC if we didn't have an activity with Miss Janet. So I would not forget that. You will see attached to this that Mrs. Janet's got an activity for you guys. They're always a good time, and I hope you enjoy, and I can't wait to see you again.